Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I've just installed the new Eonon Adroid 9 7-inch touchscreen to my car, the head unit. I haven't actually seen many tips on this particular model car. It is an older car. It's a 2003 Nissan X-Trail T30, and this particular dash I haven't seen much information online through videos how to remove it, what to expect. So I thought I'd just give a few tips and tricks on this particular car, how to remove some of the dash, but then I will be getting to the actual head unit if that's what you've clicked on this video for. I'll show you where you get with it and just a little bit of my opinion. So I bought this through Amazon. I also bought the DAB antenna for the digital radio, and I also got a rear view camera. Both the digital radio antenna and the rear view camera were both Eonon as well. So when I was installing this, I tried to video a few things on my phone just so I could talk about it in this video. To remove this dash, there's little trims, so aircon water bottle coolers. Behind the left one there is a screw at the back, and then you literally pull the whole thing forward, and then you have to get it under this lever here to remove the whole thing, and then you can unscrew the head unit straight away. It's really simple and easy. The vent and speaker covers here, you literally just pull them forward and they come off. Everything in this car comes apart really easy. You just have to know which direction you're meant to remove things. So this pulls directly out. If you were to lever it up, you could snap all the connectors. The cover for the speedo cluster comes out almost the same, except you will need to remove these silver trims here. They just pull out directly. There's a screw either side, and then the whole top pulls off towards you. And then behind there is actually a lot of room, so you can put all the GPS and wires and everything all behind there and run them down really easily. There's heaps of room there, so it makes it really easy. When you're running the wires through the dash, I found it a lot easier to remove the glove box. Actually really easy to remove once you know. At the very back of the glove box there are two black clips, and that's all that holds it in. The only issue with removing this glove box above it was a little cover. It only had 1 or 2 screws in it, and then you can access up into the dash. But because I have passenger airbags, they glued the connector to that, so I couldn't remove it completely without fiddling around too much, so I just left it hanging while I did that. You just got to make sure obviously that you don't put force on that and break those cables to your airbags. All the A-pillar trims the same, just pull off really easily. There's little pins the whole way along that just unclip, and then you can run cables through the top of this trim of the roof. I did everything on the passenger side, so the digital radio runs up the A-pillar, and it does need to stick onto where the metal is on the A-pillar and then onto the glass. The actual antenna is very sticky. It won't come off, so you need to make sure that you get it in the right place when you first do it. And then the microphone I ran all the way across to above my head here. I think it's really good. It looks really neat. I then pulled all the trims off on the passenger side, along the whole side all the way to the boot, to be able to run the cable all the way through for the rear view camera. You will then need to take all the trims off the rear door or boot or trunk if you're in America, so that you can drill a hole and run the wire through for the rear view. The rear view camera for the Eonon, the cable actually has a quite large adapter right in the middle. So when I was drilling the hole, you drill it for the actual connectors, but then when you get about halfway through, the connector or joiner in the middle, I think it's a converter for the power to the camera, but it's quite large. So I had to drill a hole that was larger than 10.5 mil, which is my largest drill bit. The cables that you need to worry about at the rear of this particular Nissan 2003 T30 X-Trail, the cable for the reversing light is a blue and white cable, and then the ground wire is a black cable. I'll link above where I found that info. I found it on a forum, and that really helped me out, so I'll link that. In the rear of this car, when you're removing all the trims, there is a few tie down clips. If you haven't seen those before, they were a little bit tricky to work out. All you have to do is flick up the little clip, and then you can get straight to the screw that holds them down. They're actually really easy. So when I did hook up this head unit, I used a converter, ISO converter or connector for a Nissan, from Nissan to the Chinese adapters for the Chinese head units. Pretty much all the wires just connected straight through with that one, except there was one orange wire that was on the Nissan and the connector, but it wasn't wired into the connector for the head unit, and that was the orange wire. So I just snipped it off one of them and wired it directly, soldered it in. That one, the orange wire, is for the illumination when you turn your headlights on and off. Also, there is a wire for the handbrake. It's only short, and for these Chinese Android head units, Most of them you can just wire it into anything on the car. I just literally screwed it into the bracket of the head unit. The head unit didn't come with any brackets. I just used the one from the previous radio that was in here. I just screwed it into the side of that with one of the installation screws, and I have no issues playing anything while I'm driving. Obviously there are laws around that depending where you live, so. And then the only other wire is for wiring into the rear view camera, the power for that. So they're the only 3 wires I need to worry about. There is a few other wires that were there that were for steering wheel controls, but I don't have any steering wheel controls on this car for a head unit, only cruise control, so I didn't have to worry about those. And there is a power cable for amp. I don't have an external amp on this car, so I didn't need to worry about that either. Everything else hooked up really easy. Glove box here. On the other side it has an airbag, so you can't remove it as easily. Run my USBs into the top here. There was a little gap, so I could just run them through really neatly, and it doesn't look bad at all. When I was running the GPS, there is a big metal bar that runs through for support in the dash. I tried just magneting it onto that behind the head unit, and it wasn't good. It couldn't receive much signal. Some people say you need to run them to the outside of the roof, and other people say you don't need to. I run it in underneath this glove box onto the same structural bar, and it still wasn't working well. And then there is a bracket that goes onto the front dash or the firewall there, and as soon as I put it on there I got all the signal, so I'll put that little video up. Perfect spot for the GPS. The Wi-Fi antenna just has double-sided tape on it. I just stuck it to the other side of this top part of the dash up high. Because the head unit goes in on an angle, there is a little gap here, and I just stuck it there. It fits perfect. So that's about all the tips I have for this particular car. So let's have a look at the screen. So I'll just reset it quickly. So I'll show you what a full startup looks like. So the car's completely off. When you first install it, it'll take about 30 or 40 seconds to start up. Okay, so that's a startup. So once it does boot up, if you turn your car off, it's off now, it'll take a second, then it will power off. And then when you do start your car again, it only takes a second or two, and then it's running. So I have moved a few of these apps around, but this is pretty much what you get when you get this unit. I've sort of put all the apps I don't use in this one folder. This is the digital radio app that you get. I was trying a few other apps, but I don't know if they're full digital radio apps. It does take a while when you go through radios on this. So once you do select a channel, it will take a while to play. To search, you literally search here. And
across much of New South Wales on Tuesday with the mercury.
I'll turn that down. So I did have a few little issues when I first hooked up the digital radio app. I tried a few times swapping over the different USBs. There's 3 USBs, so there's 2 that are for digital radio and those sort of things. And I did swap them and restart the car a few times, and then it seemed to work just randomly. I did have a little bit of issues, but I think you just have to be patient with it. Restart the unit once you swap the USBs and try search. If you select something else to play, it selects it quick, but it will take a few seconds before it starts playing. So now it's playing. Obviously you got your settings, amp. The amp is actually pretty cool. You got a fair bit of control, but even just selecting one of the presets normally works pretty well. One of the reasons I bought this particular head unit was because it advertised in the name of it that it had Apple CarPlay, and it doesn't. So if you are buying this, just know that it doesn't have Apple CarPlay. It has this Easy Connect, so you can connect Android through USB, or you can connect either Android or iPhone through Wi-Fi, but it is to mirror your phone. It isn't CarPlay. CarPlay has all the apps so you can use them. This just mirrors your screen, and it isn't the best quality. I will show you. First you need to connect a personal hotspot. So to make sure that's connecting, you can either go into the settings here So now on the Easy Connect, sorry, you gotta hit the actual phone first. Now it comes up and it just mirrors your screen. If you're using something that's portrait, so this doesn't do anything, but if you're in something like Google Maps, when you tilt it, it will tilt it on the screen. The resolution on the screen mirroring isn't the best, and it does lag. If you are using GPS or anything, it does have a lag and it is a bit pixelated, and I don't think it's the best thing. You can't control it from the screen, only the phone on iPhone. So I really did want CarPlay, and you can get a dongle for this, the adapter, so I will be getting that next week. I did order that, and then you should have Apple CarPlay after installing a few little things. So because you can connect your Wi-Fi like I showed you just now, you can run any app through the Google Play Store. So you can just run Google Maps, and then the resolution is full quality because it's the actual app. It isn't the fastest unit if you're used to just going straight on your iPhone. Obviously phones these days run so fast. There is a little bit of a lag here and there when you are doing stuff. So you can see there, but just with the Wi-Fi, just so you know, it isn't the fastest screen or processing power. Bluetooth music is just literally playing anything from your phone. You will need to connect Bluetooth first. So in here you can connect up a few devices. When pairing, it asks for a code, so you know where the code is. You just press settings and it gives you a pin here. That's your pin for connecting to your Bluetooth. It doesn't seem to load my contacts. I've tried a few times. On the previous calls, I won't bring it up because it has phone numbers on there. It will have the previous calls from this car, but it's not from your phone previous calls. It's from this car previous calls. If you're connected to Bluetooth, you can play music or podcasts or anything you want through this Bluetooth music. You can just run those apps straight directly from here. So this is the Spotify app that is installed on the head unit. Everything takes a little bit to load, but then you can play whatever you want directly from here, and it works really well. Everything runs fairly smooth, but it does have a small amount of lag, a little bit more of a lag than I thought it would. But this isn't the most expensive head unit either, so you have to expect some of that. The radio works really well, and you can save a lot of stations on here, 18 stations. If you have a station you want, you just press and hold and it will save it there. It has the names and everything on there, so it works really well. Any of these widgets I can't seem to remove. I haven't dealt with Android software very much before. I know you can get different skins for Android, so I'm going to try do that. I'll probably make another video trying to install a launcher on here to make it all look a little bit different, make it look a bit cooler. I don't really think these give it much justice. All this looks really modern and new, and then they're just square. I don't like the fonts or anything, so I'm going to try change that. There is applications on here, but like I said, I haven't used Android much before. I can add them to the other screens, but I can't seem to remove this. I don't know how. Everything else is quite basic: calculator, phone, gallery. I don't look at photos while I'm in my car. You can install Netflix. Like I said before, any app that's on the Play Store you can install on this. YouTube. You can use Google and Chrome to search anything you need if your phone's connected. I've tested out the microphone on this, the external mic. I've made a few calls and everyone said that it sounds really clear, like I'm not even in a car, so it works really well. So I don't really have much problems with this. Connecting Wi-Fi each time is a little bit slow when you first get in the car. So like I said before, you can connect it here, turn it off, turn it on, and you have to go into the settings on your phone. You have to bring up the personal hotspot, and then I'll have the hotspot running, and then I'll press it twice, and most of the time it will connect. And now it's connected. So it doesn't take that much time, but then you would then have to go home, bring up the maps, put in where you want to go. And so if you're sitting at a petrol station or something, it's not super fast. So that's why I do want to just get that dongle and connect to Apple CarPlay. I believe that's a lot faster and more instant. So the things I would complain about is that it doesn't have Apple CarPlay, just mirror. The mirror isn't the best quality because it's through Wi-Fi, and the quality on the screen in the mirroring isn't great. And then everything does lag a little bit. Other than that, I'm really happy with this head unit. I would recommend this head unit. The camera from Eonon that I bought, connected up super easy. One of the things with the reverse, I'll just start my car up. The lines, these blue lines here are from the camera. Sorry about the messy garage. And the coloured lines are from the unit. So you can actually turn off the lines from the unit all the way down here. Car, extra settings, everything's in a little bit weird spots. You can, the X mirror will swap it left to right. I think that's if you want it on the front of your car. And then you have the ruler here is your reversing lines. So if that's off and then you put into reverse, now you only have the blue lines. But as far as I know, you can't remove those blue lines. So I just put the ruler on from here. The coloured lines are a little bit wider, so it just helps a little bit. This is my wife's car, and that'll just make it a little bit wider. The car actually is wider than that. If you raise the camera, that will help, but I wanted to be able to see the bottom, the rear of the bumper. So the camera is working really well. Plenty of resolution for what you need as a reversing camera, and it loads really quick. So that's outer reverse, into reverse, outer reverse. If you are playing anything, I'll see if there's a radio station without any music or something. If the radio is on, so I don't know if you can hear that, there's some talking. Put into reverse, it turns the sound off so that you can concentrate on reversing. Put into park, the sound's back on. If you have any other questions on this head unit, please comment down below and I'll try answer it if I can. I'm not an auto elect, but I did wire all this up for my own car, and I might be able to help with any questions that you have. Hope this video was helpful. I will hopefully put up another video trying to put a loader on this, change the look of it, especially this homepage. It doesn't look that bad, but I want to see if I can make it look a bit better. If this video helped you out, make sure you give it a like, and I'll see you in that next video. Cheers.